welcome to Vinspire. We're back. You know, people are going to be doing what they're doing, and we're here doing what we're doing. So I think we can all kind of focus in and listen. We're hoping that this is a night that really everybody just is willing to share a little bit. So, you know, I think what brought everybody in was we had a wonderful speaker, and we're going to reschedule her, but she had some illness, and that was reminiscent of COVID. And we're all very familiar with that. So we thought, well, we could cancel, but canceling isn't really what we do. This is a group of women that we land on our feet. We're very flexible. We're very adaptable. We've all been parents. We're grandparents. We're working around in the community and juggling lots of things, and I think all of you are too, and that's why you like Vinspire. So if you haven't been here before, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're in a new place. Thank you, Old Soul. Really nice to be here, and we'll just kind of see how this space works and take some advice afterwards to see how we can make this work better. My name's Sally Meisenheimer. I'll just introduce real quick the girls on the team. Actually, why don't you just stand up if you're on the Vinspire team? And so I can point you out. Allie, Steph, Dana, Allie, and Dina. A couple, I think Courtney's not here yet. Not sure, is that everybody?
Linda. And Linda's on call.
Yep, Linda's on call, delivering babies, so that's a good excuse. So tonight's theme is gratitude. And it is the month of gratitude. It's Thanksgiving month, and I love Thanksgiving because we don't have to give any gifts. We don't have to do a whole lot. We just really can gather people around and share savory, yummy fall food. A lot of it could come from the CSA. If you haven't dug into that this year, Robert can cue you in on that. But a lot of us have that, and so it's a good time to just gather and really think about what we are grateful for. I would just have to say that with the world the way it is, it's kind of shocking to me and sad, and it brings you back home to this little place called Plattsburgh that we all live in, and what a beautiful place. My husband and I have been fortunate. We raised our kids here. We came back in the 90s, raised our kids here. They all went away, and 2 of them came back. And so how fortunate is that? And they say, wow, Plattsburgh, what a great place to live. So, you know, we're all neighbors, we're all friends, and everybody here has a sense of humor, and I think the ability to really share and care about each other. So what we thought we would do is talk a little bit about gratitude and hope that maybe people will take a turn. If you don't want the mic on, we can turn it up and people can cozy up and listen. And if you don't mind, I think that good words always spread well. We also would like to, at the end, talk a little bit about what you'd like to see for Vinspire and how that might work, and we'll just work that out. We're hoping once a month. We know snow comes. We're hoping to get a really solid email addresses so we can get things out to people, and that was a little bit kind of, well, haphazard. This time we're working on it. So I wanted to open up with a beautiful poem, so we all turned our clocks back. I remember when I was a kid or younger, I used to love it because you got an extra hour of sleep. And then you get older, and if you've got little kids, you get nothing. It's rough. And then it gets dark. And the darkness is so dark to me that it doesn't seem like real darkness. It seems like, wow, what did we get hit with? So I love poetry, and I'm always printing it and sharing it. And I have a beautiful poem that just made me really think about, hey, I can look at this darkness in a new way. I can do something better, and I can actually enjoy it. And I'll tell you what I've been doing since the darkness started, and I didn't even know I was doing it, but this poem really captures that, and it's called Rising. The trick is to watch the sky. The day breaks open lazily. It wriggles its toes into the light. Bats its eyelids once, twice, and then it stretches its heavy moonlit arms, and it lets the night roll off its shoulders slowly. And then comes the dawn of a new day, and it's called today. You see, rising has never been a routine. It has always been a victory. And what I thought of, I read this after But what I started doing is I'm waking up really early, like 5:30. That's not me. That's Dina McCullough time. So I think of her when I wake up that early, and I think, this is crazy. What I did was I got up. I actually got up, and my husband was in town, and he goes, "Are you getting up?" And I go, "I am." He goes, "What time is it?" I go, "It's 5:35. And I got up, and wow, what a morning. Went out and got the paper, looked up in the sky rather than down at the ground, and I saw night stars, and the moon was still out, and I thought, wow, this is a beautiful time of day.
So not crazy.
It isn't, I know, but I'm really going to try hard to keep this routine, just because it is a beautiful time to really express gratitude and feel just creation at its best. I'm a very starry night girl, and I'd like to be a little bit of a starry morning girl. So
Yeah, and that time of day, no one needs you. I used to get up at 4 a.m. to work out because the kids were still sleeping, the husband was still sleeping, and that was my 2 hours to do whatever I wanted. And then, sure, you crash at 8:30, but it's a wonderful time. It's the me time you can find.
So we hope to open up the mic, and I know the Vinspire girls, they always have plenty to say, but we would also like to open it up. Just if you don't have to be on the mic, but if you'd just like to say something about a new way of experiencing gratitude, something that maybe you've incorporated in the last year or so, or something that you've observed in other people, and I'll just open it up. I'm very comfortable with silence, so let's just see who might come up.
You're up there.
No, I'm sitting in solidarity.
I have a lot of admiration for my good friend Sally. She's a great opener and a very real human, and I love her with all my heart. So one of the things I wanted to share as we were thinking about this, I read an article in our local paper many years ago, and we were having my brother and his family and his in-laws to dinner for Thanksgiving. So when you think about family getting together, sometimes there can be some added stress. So I wanted to add some tips, because then it's useful this time of year, but then when you add in-laws that you don't even know, and not only awkward for them, but maybe for us too. So what we did around the family table was we decided that we would have people share a story, especially the elders. And one of the things that the article I'd read really made mention of was how valuable it is for families to share history with their younger and tell the same stories over and over again, because the more grounded you are in understanding your family's stories, actually they say the better adapted children are and the better connected you feel to each other. So in having Bob and Jean Brewer, Julia's parents there, they told stories from their childhood. And one of the things that was fascinating about that was they were stories that Julia didn't know. There were things that my dad really felt and my mom felt connected to, and it really connected us all. So I encourage people to find a way to bring your table together and to share stories and give everybody the opportunity to be heard around the table. We did that just recently as a friend group, and to me, it warms my heart when you can have a table of 10 people and only one person is speaking and saying something that they're grateful for. The other idea that I have, and we use this more so at Christmas, but it can be done at Thanksgiving if that's your season. Do you know roses, buds, and thorns? Has anybody ever heard that? Okay, so it's another tradition that we like to do, and we let people know in advance so they're not too freaked out. But a rose is something from the past year that really lit you up, that you loved, that was one of your favorite things that you did. Your thorn was your low point, optional to share, but it's kind of good to know, like, that was really not so great. And your bud is what you're really looking forward to in the year ahead. And it's one way that we found we can also include the younger generation. And we have some that don't speak a lot at the table because we're kind of a noisy family and it's hard to get a word in. So when everybody gets quiet and we get one that says, it's like, oh, look at that, you know? He was thrilled that he had a roommate that he was able to stay with the whole year. And I just tell you, there's lovely things that happen when you just make space for other people to say some words. So for this season, I am grateful for all of you. Honestly, thank you to Sally for thanking Old Soul. This is a beautiful space. We bounced around a little bit, and what we wanted was a cozy space where we could bring people back together. And I think this does it for us. I know that tonight we planned a different thing, but actually as a launch on a snowy night in November, I feel like this is just the perfect crowd of people to be here. So with that, I leave you with those little tidbits to consider. All right, Allie.
No,
Allie, you go, yes.
The other Allie.
I have a lot to be grateful for, and I'm probably gonna cry, and I apologize in advance because I'm a crier, and I just do that a lot now. I think that I have a very strong gratitude practice. I've had that. I got it from my mom. It's kind of been ingrained in me, and but it's been a little harder lately this year, and when things are hard, it's hard to kind of see past. You were talking about the darkness. It's like really hard, I feel like lately, right? A lot of sadness, a lot of heaviness in the world. And then sometimes, the fog clears and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so lucky that I have so much to be grateful for, and I know that, and I have a lot of privilege, and I know that. But the thing that I keep coming back to is I'm great, this sounds silly, but I'm grateful for my feelings practice. I started working with a group called the Center for Emotional Education, and it's basically learning how to teach your body that you're safe in your emotions. Because some of us, as we were raised, maybe we were raised to not really fully embody or embrace our emotions, right? Like, I think I've always been a crier, so probably maybe when I was little and I was crying, it was like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And you kind of learn that, oh, this feeling isn't something I'm allowed to process out loud. So, or whatever your own emotional makeup was as a child, you learned to deal with it in a certain way, and usually that way was not to be really out loud about it. And so working with this group, I've really been practicing feeling safe in my body regardless of what feeling comes up. And it's made me a better mom, and it's made me a better partner, and it's made me a better human. But my mom passed away, and that's the hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with. And I realized today in the car, the process of going through that has been big, but I've let myself feel all of those feelings throughout this whole experience, and I'm truly grateful for that. I'm grateful for allowing myself to be able to feel what's coming up for me. I'm allowing myself to cry in front of people that I don't know. I'm actually really doing a good job not crying right now, so feeling some pride here, giving myself some encouragement for feeling that feeling. But so that's been like my biggest practice this year, is letting myself feel the feelings that have been coming up, and through that practice I've actually been able to be less of an anxious person. So I had what I called my anxiety for a really long time, and now I call it my feelings of anxiety. And by letting each feeling come up as it comes up, I'm not stuffing those things down, and so I'm not feeling anxious all the time, because I'm actually like letting that feeling of anxiety come up when it needs to, working through it, and then moving on. And it's probably a little more vulnerable than we maybe wanted to get tonight, but I'm really proud of that. Like I'm really grateful for the feelings as they come and like giving myself permission to feel them. And so I feel really passionate about it too. And so I just wanted to share that and encourage everyone to feel your feelings as they arise, especially this season when things feel maybe harder than they did last season. I don't know.
I'm going to piggyback on that. Just no. Usually at the end of our Vinspire group times, Allie has like a speech, and it's always so awesome. And that's because she doesn't mean to have one, but she has one, and it's always so great. And we all just love that. I'd like to say about your mom, Allie. I lost my mom when I was 23. My mom never met my kids. And so that was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and it's also the best thing that ever happened to me, because learning about loss at that age, I got so much more compassion and was able to really be in touch with my feelings. And I know your mom would just be so proud of you. You just mutually so loved each other, and I think that's why you feel. But you have such a legacy to carry on, and that's beautiful. So, yeah. Who else would like to say something?
Well, I, unlike Allie, have not been probably as much in touch with my emotions and my feelings and the whole idea of gratitude. You know, although I'm thankful for things all the time, I wasn't that mindful about it, I don't think. So when we started talking about gratitude, I was like, okay, what are some different gratitude exercises? And you looking stuff up. And so one of the things was just like, if those of you that are a little newer to, being intentional about gratitude, one thing is maybe just get a gratitude stone, something that's going to remind you each day to be thankful for things. And I thought, okay, well, I don't have a stone. And then I started thinking, you know what? I actually have a few things in my life that I have. It just reminds me of being grateful for things. And I realized I wear a few bracelets on my wrist. One is a bracelet from we call the Sills, my sister-in-laws, and then all of our daughters. We're a really tight group. And if you know the story of the elephant herd, like the female elephants, you guys know.
I don't know that.
Tell us the story.
Essentially, I probably won't tell it exactly right, but essentially,
You're going to be great.
Female elephants, they get together and they essentially protect each other and their young. So, my sister-in-law gave this bracelet to us with a little story talking about the elephant herd. Basically, said, "We're hurt. We are there for you. So, and we will watch out for each other," and kind of talked about each person's strengths within our group. So, anyways, so I wear my elephant bracelet, and every time I look down at my wrist, I think about this group that I have that protects me, that is looking out for me, and I'm so thankful for them. Another one I just have is just another good group of girlfriends that I have that I grew up with. Sometimes we'll go on little trips and weekends, and we were in a little shop and we just each got the same little bracelet for free, actually. The jeweler just gave it to us.
And you're grateful for that.
Well, I'm very grateful. So anyway, so I still just wear that. Again, it's a reminder of that group of girls that are really special to me that I grew up with. Another one's actually a bracelet that my son gave me last year. It was Christmas, but it was a gift that he bought, and essentially it was a donation. I'm not sure which country, but it helped build or dig wells for a country. So I'm thankful that he, that was his gift to me to think of other people. I also have, just with this group of ladies, usually when we get together, someone will give something. One year Sally gave this shiny hair clip, so I had this shiny hair clip sitting in my bathroom, and I just thought of Sally and this group of wonderful people. And then, Dina, was it you that did the sticker?
Yeah.
The light bulb sticker? I have that on my computer at work. So, so every day that I'm at work, I look down at that and I am grateful for this group of people. So I guess my point is just, if it doesn't come naturally, like, okay, yes, I'm going to be intentional about my gratitude, just put things in your life that maybe you're the only one that knows what they are, but it just reminds you of things, reminds you of people in your life or things in your life that you are grateful for.
While Dana's coming up, I'm just going to say, you don't have to come up into the spotlight. You can speak from where you are. I think that might be a better idea.
We can also pass this more. Yes, we can. There's a long cable. Yes, I'm Dana, and like Allie, I lost my mom this year. And when a parent dies, there's some really cool things that happen. You don't think about it that way. But I was able to go through photographs, you know, when you're getting things ready for the wake and everything. Such cool memories. Like my parents were in the Washington Post the night of their graduation. You know, you find that. You find where she worked for the government in DC, and you find where she opened her own restaurant. And you find all these little tidbits of history that you're like, oh yeah, I know that about my mom. But then you see it all in this chronological and sometimes chaotic order. And it's just so cool. You can just connect with who she used to be. Now I'm gonna cry. All right. Oh no, don't cry. We're made of the same cloth. We're feeling. She had Alzheimer's and dementia, and she still remembered us, so that was good. But to see someone so vibrant and so amazing lose that is just, it's heartbreaking. But then when you go back and you see all those pictures and those memories, it just says, wow, those were just a couple of the years later on. She had 86 great years. Maybe the last 7 weren't so, or 80, well, I can't do math, 5 weren't so great. But yeah, so as you're going through life, I know we're in all these digital cameras and things like that. Make sure you're tucking things away for your kids. We don't, like, our kids are not going to go into the garage and kind of tow the pictures. It's like, that stinks. So make sure that you somehow have an archive. You know, I find these beta movies, I'm like, my kids aren't going to know that. So make your transformation, keep up with technology, but keep those memories alive and realize what you're grateful for. Thank you. Pictures. Yes, print pictures.
So bad at that.
Yeah.
All of my
There's Anna.
Hi,
Anna.
I'm here.
Come up here, Anna.
Yeah, come join us, Anna.
Maybe can we
Come
put you
sit
on
right
the
on
spot?
stage with us.
Oh my god.
Come on up.
I can't have alcohol, Mom.
We're not giving
over here.
Yeah, for real, I'm for real.
I see Courtney over there too.
Sit on this. Maybe we'll put her right on the mic. So I'll introduce my daughter, Anna.
Anna, are you?
She's extremely pregnant. And so I'm grateful for that chick. And I've called her Chick since she was a little tiny baby. And her dad and I are allowed to call her that. Nobody else is. But so this is something cool. We're talking about mothers and we're talking about gratitude. And my mother died, I shared that before my kids were born, and so Anna never met my mother, but Anna feels my mother. She comes into Anna's life in fluffy, kind of weird ways that I'm like, what? She was there? But my mother was a second child, I was a second child, Anna's a second child. My mother had 3 children, I had 3 children, and now Anna's having her 3rd child. So we're talking tonight just about gratitude, and I don't know if there's anything like you would like to share. Just spur of the moment, and we'll invite Courtney up. Courtney is Anna's sister-in-law. Courtney is on the Vinspire team, so she's trying to lay low, and we're not going to let that happen. Maybe as sister.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take that. I think I'm really grateful for coming home to just some really strong female bonds in Plattsburgh. I've traveled a lot. I've lived a lot of places, and this is by far the most empowering place I can live and be a woman and be empowered and built up and respected in a way that I just haven't felt before as an adult. And it's been really wonderful to be received in that way and to be supported in that way. This one sitting next to me is like one of my greatest cheerleaders, and these ones as well. And it's just been, and I just met you, and you are also wonderful. And I just know
She is.
for real, and it's just been amazing. My business partner Danielle back there always has my back. Yeah, let's break. Like, why are you serious? So I'm just really, I'm so grateful for that, and having all of these women around that just understand and see and have a similar mindset of what it means to be successful and part of a community. So I'm very grateful for that.
Thanks.
We were talking about Plattsburgh before you guys got here,
Yeah.
so hey, thanks for sharing. So Corey, you're up here. Do you have any words about gratitude or anything that you'd like to share?
I gotta collect my thoughts. I was just at a meeting at City Hall because I just took on a new role.
Yay!
Everybody cheer for and I'm really grateful for that. That's really what's sitting with me right now.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like just how you talked at the blessing, like what happened, like when you're moving around.
Yes.
This is some girl power stuff
Yes.
that we're all privileged to hear.
I think, well, I'll try to say it concisely. Like many women and many people, like I just feel like I got out of college, I got a job, I started working hard at it, and I started sort of like, achieving some career goals, and then my husband and I decided to move across the country to Portland, Oregon, and I had to rebuild myself when I got there, and I had to kind of restart my career, and then I was building that, and that was getting some momentum, and then we decided to start a family, and it wasn't like a step back, but it was definitely like, it felt like a pause.
It's a pause.
It's a pause.
Yeah.
And then from there we moved to Plattsburgh, and I found a new community and started to integrate into there, and found a position that I loved and was really enriched by, but then I wanted to get more for myself, I guess. I knew that I could continue to be building towards something, and I think what I'm grateful for is that I do feel like I kind of put a lot of that energy out into the universe of what I wanted and what I felt like I deserved. I feel like almost like guilty saying that. It's true, like I should own that feeling of just like, yes, I deserve this for myself, because we sacrifice so much as moms, but I was like, no, I deserve this, and I put that out there into the world, and then I think it got returned back to me in this opportunity. And at first I was even like, I don't deserve this,
It can't be me.
I'm like, I can't do that. But then because of the wise words and kind words of many women in this community that were just like, you can't say no to that, you have to go for that, and I did, and I'm literally days into the job, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But I think I pulled the tarot card the other day, and it was all about just like relishing in your achievement. Like that was what it was. I forget what it was like the 9 of Cups or something, and it was like, you did it, like just it's not going to be this great forever, so just enjoy it. And I was like, wow, that's so symbolic. I just need to take this in right now. And so I feel like I am really living in gratitude in that moment for that opportunity, and just sort of like the journey of getting there. So
But I want to shine a light on what you've done for this community. I don't know if y'all realize, what was your original role? No, I know. No, seriously. We have had so little on our events.
Get on the mic,
Parks
girl.
Alive, Courtney. Parks Come Alive, Courtney. You know, all the parades and everything. She's been the community, come on, give me the title that you were.
The community engagement coordinator.
And
I think
you've
you're now
done some-
hiring for, so if anybody's
Yeah, seriously.
interested.
She's vacated that position. No, seriously, you have brought, and just the Halloween with you and Zach for the past few years. You've done wonderful things for our community, and that's what we need. You know, people are like, there's nothing to do in Plattsburgh. Baloney, there's a lot to do. You have to go out and make it a lot of the times. But you and that energy and that just the synergy that you have has really added a lot to our community. And I'm grateful for that.
I super appreciate that. I'm not from this community, so I feel like part of it is because this community is so accepting and welcoming, and I got here and, you know, with the family that I knew, like I was just welcomed. So that, I think that just also says a lot about the stock of people that are here, and you connect with those people, and then everybody starts getting going. Like everyone here that's sitting here is doing like amazing things.
The
Like,
community
you're
is
doing amazing
super
things for the
gung-ho
community, too.
about trying anything, which is so nice. Because
Yeah.
in other cities, it's been there, done that, don't even try it. And here it's like, yeah, let's shoot for the moon, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, wait, because you just we need now you need to like promote
Danielle
what you're
Smith.
doing.
Danielle
No, you just opened. She opened a boutique, like a wellness boutique downtown.
So we're gonna just invite Danielle up.
Oh, our previous presenter.
There we go, Sal.
Young girls.
Good.
My turn now. So Danielle, the question is, so the theme is gratitude, and we're just really, you can see how this is, we're passing the mic, and we're talking about just how we view gratitude, how we incorporate gratitude. You know, any thoughts that you might want to add? And so just so you all know, Anna is a therapist at Ember and Root. Danielle is an acupuncturist at Avenue Acupuncture. Together, they're a wild team in a super beautiful space in the old Merkel's building, and wow, you can feel the vibe when you walk in. I don't go to therapy with my daughter, but I do go to acupuncture with her partner, which is probably good.
Okay, so I want to talk about gratitude for body. So, and I'm just spitballing here, right?
That's what we're all doing.
So I think that some people have this idea, and for some reason for me today, throughout this whole day, this idea was coming through. I'm just gonna explain it. So a lot of people think that when I'm not feeling stressed, my body should also then not be feeling stressed. So a lot of people come into treatment very frustrated with their body. Their body isn't someplace to be home. They have a lot of resistance to it. And so I think that just by kind of being with what is, and so like what Ali was saying about how you feel the feels and how like when emotions come up, it doesn't last long if you don't try to put resistance to it, right? So it's like, yeah. So it's like our body has a process by which we then let go of our stress. So it's not just like, oh, I'm not stressed today, so therefore my body shouldn't be feeling stressed. And so I guess I have gratitude for body in the way that it's a wealth of information that we can just be curious about. Like our body has so much to give us for what's true right now. And I just think that that's such a gift. So instead of trying to like put up a wall to it or do something different about it, it's like, what if we all just soften and just be with what's true now?
Can you elaborate more on that? I'm liking that, but I need to know more.
Yeah. Okay. So,
How do you soften? Like if
How
you're
do
just
you
like,
soften?
oh, that sounds nice.
Okay.
Right
So I think, well, you know, keep going on it, but like, so for me, I think there's different ways that in which I use to soften or to discharge what I'll call stress, and honestly, even if I'm not feeling stressed, I find that doing those practices regularly for me is really helpful. Because I think that there's a level of kind of unconscious stress that's happening that you may not have awareness of it. And it's because our bodies are so smart. They're trying to protect us. So for me, this might sound really stupid, but even like hugging somebody that I love for a short period of time helps me. I'm very physical. Like I do a lot of physical work, so I feel like for me physical is really important. Exercise is another really big one for me. So it's interesting because I'm talking about softening, but then I'm telling you about exercise, right? Yeah. It's like, it doesn't have to be like the cause and effect. It can be and, right? So after exercise, then I'm like, woo, you know? Laughter is really, really big for me, especially as a mom and in a marriage and doing all the things. We have to laugh or we'll cry.
Me too, but sometimes you just need to laugh. What Danielle's getting at too is sometimes high impact is a way to relieve emotion and relieve, you know, that resistance, because in the wild, and our humans do it too, but we're too conscious of how our body is at all times. We're told in society we have to be, but animals in nature after trauma literally vibrate and shake to get rid of the emotional intensity and to actually rid their mind and their body of that traumatic event if they survive it. We need to do the same thing. We have to use our bodies. We have to move our bodies to be able to relieve emotion and get back to
the way kids tantrum.
Yes.
When a kid like loses it.
Yes.
On you, it's because their body can't hold on to what's going on.
So what's really interesting is as adults, we stop ourselves from doing those types of things. And so then, like in Chinese medicine, there's a saying, and that's the issues in the tissue, which means that if we don't then go through the process of shaking or discharging that energy, it can then get stuck. And then when it gets stuck, it can be an actual etiology to disease.
Same with our emotions.
Exactly.
Right? When we're holding those emotions in and we're not feeling them and letting them out, they get pushed deeper and deeper down. And then when we do let them out, we're letting them out bigger than if we had just felt them.
Or we're afraid of them.
Right.
Yeah. And so entering from a place of curiosity when we experience those emotions, that's part of my trauma work, is talking to our bodies, using our bodies as, you know, a source to be able to resolve certain things through a state of curiosity rather than fear. Especially when we are trying to let go of uncomfortable emotion or uncomfortable body sensations as it manifests inside our bodies.
I just have a question now too of like, does the practice of gratitude have a physical effect on your?
Yeah.
Like, what can you say more about what that?
It releases really healthy hormones, which can actually create, you know, it can lead to neuroplasticity, which can resolve and lead to
I think it just welcomes more.
Yeah.
Like it allows, it's a process that allows you to welcome yourself and to welcome others.
It's a cornerstone of
like welcoming yourself.
Yeah, somebody asked me today, actually, I just came from the office, but they asked me, why is it that I have such a hard time offering myself love? And it's like, that is such a good question. Like, why can't we like turn that mirror?
This is the stuff that Dee and I just love in our practices.
That's good. I don't know if I have like a good answer. Do you?
Well, my question to her would be, where did you learn that you were unlovable? And then I would say, okay, let's resolve that.
Right.
Yeah. Someone taught you that. You don't come out of the womb thinking you're unlovable. You learn that. That's a learned belief about yourself.
Do you think that's a cultural thing that happens? Because it's just so common.
Yeah.
So common. Like,
Yeah.
so widespread.
It could be pretty complex.
Yeah.
Just depending on her response.
Right.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I love this, don't leave. So, I've got something, I hope that it's easy to follow, but I'm wondering if you'll read it in a round. And it's called Breathe by Rachel H. And she's the poet that I put in. We're all girls here, right? We're all women. So I think we'll all really, almost everyone will appreciate it.
I wanted to talk about
There's a man back there. The man, hey, representing. He's here because he enjoys this. So, yeah.
He's supporting.
Now I'm wondering if you'll read and then pass it, read a little and then pass it around. It's just a really fun, good poem that kind of, I feel like it kind of speaks for all of you women up here.
She sat at the back, and they said she was shy. She led from the front, and they hated her pride.
Oh, goodness. They asked her advice and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud, then were shocked by her silence.
When she shared no ambition, they said it was sad. So she told them her dreams, and they said she was mad.
They told her they'd listen, then covered their ears and gave her a hug whilst they laughed at her fears. Cut off
And she listened to all of it, thinking she should. Is there more to it?
Okay. That's why I was saying I hope it's a little.
Oh, yeah. And she listened to all of it, thinking she should be the girl they told her to be, best as she could. Do I keep going? Oh, yeah. I think it's this.
Okay. So she walked to the forest and stood with the trees. She heard the wind whisper and danced with the leaves.
And she spoke to the willow, the elm, and the pine, and she told them what she'd been told time after time.
She told them she never felt nearly enough. She was either too little or far, far too much.
Too loud or too quiet, too fierce or too weak, too wise or too foolish, too bold or too meek.
Then she found a small clearing surrounded by firs, and she stopped and she heard what the trees said to her.
And she sat there for hours not wanting to leave, for the forest said nothing, it just let her breathe.
Very nice.
Hey, so thanks for this impromptu panel. Vinspire magic. Yeah.
Well, so can I just share, that's a really great ending because being outside in nature is also a really great way to calm our bodies, downregulate our nervous systems, and our breath is also probably the fastest way that we can quickly downgrade, relax our bodies, relax our nervous systems.
As I prepare for childbirth.
Yeah. Deep belly breaths. You want to breathe into your abdomen, and to help calm your body, you want your exhales to be longer than your inhales. So a quick deep inhale in, and then a long, slow exhale out. Over and over, as long as you can do it, will help your body to relax.
I find putting a pause and a hold between the two even makes it even better, but definitely like 4 to 8. I mean, it's so important.
Like 3-4-7 or 4-3-7.
There's a lot of different ways that you can count. The important part, if you're not consciously breathing often, is a long exhale, longer than your inhales.
So anybody like to add anything else, and we'll open up the mic to all these other fabulous women who are here listening, and I know they have something to say, so.
I feel like I should share since people are trying right from the beginning.
So I just want to say something about Allie. When Allie met Anna, we all thought that Allie knew Anna, and she walks in and she has these new bangs. And we all went wild over her bangs. So that was like literally.
And I've only known you with bangs. You're a bang girl. Post bangs. I actually feel a lot of the things that you were all saying. I was shaking my head. I was like, yes, that's exactly it. And you mentioned something about, feeling your feelings, and I immediately thought of Allie's mom when she told me when I was pregnant, just ride the wave. Don't fight against your body, even though it's going to want to tense up. And I spent a lot of my younger years in high school wanting to move as far away from this area as possible. I felt it was very small. My parents were from the Saranac area, and I had older siblings, and everybody was kind of sticking around, and I didn't want that for myself. So I did go away for a little bit, only to fall in love with somebody that was staying here, and so I came back home. But I think when I find myself the most grateful, it's usually been in times of turmoil, tragedy, because of this small community. So my father had ALS, and he was sick for over 9 years, and that was actually the beginning, I think, of this group, because the day that he passed, Sally was on my doorstep with this little...
Some glass.
Yeah, it was so, and it hangs, and she was like, when you're almost like an ornament, and when you're thinking of, maybe this will help you think of your dad in times. And so it's actually still hanging on our kitchen window. He passed away 6 years ago this month. But he was sick for so long, and my parents took every life-saving measure they could. That was their choice. They were high school sweethearts, middle school sweethearts, had known each other their whole lives pretty much. And the love that they had for each other was unbelievable to watch. And even as my mom retired a month after he got sick, and then became his full-time caregiver while also hiring a full-time nurse, she was there every step of the way. But what that meant for at least my life, I can speak to that, was that, we moved my husband and I were just talking about this last night with our kids. We moved our wedding up. We got married 4 months after we got engaged. We had children earlier than we thought because we didn't know how much time we had. And we did everything faster, even if maybe it wasn't what we thought was going to be best. I wouldn't change any of that, but it also meant as I raised my kids here, my mom was not around because she was 10 miles down the road, but she was taking care of me. So she never babysat my children until he had passed. And so there was a lot of sadness, and I felt like my body during that time was constantly fighting everything. There was lots of moments of, this is it. They're in the ER, it's over. And then it didn't finish. So you were grieving all the time and in this constant circle. And at the same time, I was home with my kids. So I, wanted to be home, but not like that. And I'm very thankful for the experience, but I was at age, when my son turned 3, I was like, I have to get out of this house. I don't care if I wait tables again, I can't do this anymore. And so a lot of turmoil at home, a lot of turmoil with my kids. And so then, fast forward to yesterday, my husband and I, we decided we had to put our dog down. And she was 15, she would have been 16 in January. She lived a really long life. She was our first child, and we treated her that way until the real children came, and then he still did, and I might not have so much. But yesterday, we felt all the feelings together, the two of us, and even our kids, and our daughter more so than our son. But I was shocked at all of the feelings she had, and she was so willing to put out there, whereas our son was can you not cry? Can we not cry? Is everyone okay? Like he just kept, is everyone okay? Asking over and over like that was going to make it all okay. But in this really short time yesterday as we experienced, I just was so grateful to all the people that helped us with our dog over the last 15 years. The doggy daycare people that were just willing to take her for way too long, and they're like, how long do you think you're gonna send her? I mean, she stopped going a year ago. So, but they grandfathered her in, and the vet that spoke to us Monday night on the phone after hours on their way to New York City about what we should be doing, and then the other vet that came to our house yesterday and put her down with my husband and I there. But it also felt very similar to when my dad was sick, because in this community, everybody was there for every fundraiser and the golf tournaments, the walks, all of the community events, all that stuff that I thought I didn't really want any part of. I didn't really want.
Anybody else? Susie?
I just want to say that living in Plattsburgh, I had the same feeling as Ally. I just think I wanted to live here and to get far away. And I think coming back and raising our 3 boys has been the best decision, of course, in every way. And I'm grateful for Plattsburgh. I'm grateful that these young people are coming back to the area. It gives me so much hope. Gives me hope that maybe our children will come back. But I'm just amazed at how Plattsburgh just keeps flourishing and changing, and I mean the wealth of knowledge and camaraderie and everything else that's in this room is just, it's so enlightening, and I'm just grateful to be in the presence of you wonderful people.
I'll just say the greater Plattsburgh area.
Oh yes.
I'm representing Peru. We're Peru too, so we're like, yeah.
We're still all kind of drawn.
I like my apple trees.
Yeah. Anybody else want to say something?
That's one thing I'd like to say. I'm very thankful because both of my daughters live here and all 3 of my grandchildren. But I had one daughter, my oldest daughter, she was away for college and her career down in Albany, and the gentleman that she married, he was also from here, and they made the decision after 10 years of being down in the Albany area and after college and everything, that they didn't really want to start a family unless they could come home. And so he moved home first, and she wasn't willing to give up. She had a very good job at Union College, and she's like, I can't do that yet. I have to have something that's going to work for me. And he made something work up here for him, and now they've just made this fabulous life, and I'm so thankful. I mean, it took 10 years, but there's still hope. I've got 3 wonderful grandchildren, and I'm blessed. So blessed. And I'm blessed with young girls like you. You make me sad to say this. It's like The View. Version of The View. I know. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Anybody else? It's the greater area.
Yeah, I know. We can excuse ourselves. Yeah. It's not
I have just one thing. So I had to take my mom to Burlington for an appointment and to the doctors, and driving in Burlington and getting her there. She can't walk very well. She's got scoliosis. Took her to her appointment. Tried to find a parking spot. Trying to get to a restaurant. I'm like, this is crazy. Burlington's like so hard now to like just get around the traffic. Trying to get to a restaurant. Trying to get a reservation. And like I grew up in Plattsburgh, and I lived in different bigger cities, but I'm glad that I'm here. I just love the small town feeling and the community, the sense of community, being able to walk. If my car broke down, I can walk anywhere, like if my car broke down. So I appreciate just a small town and just getting somewhere, being able to get to a restaurant, getting a parking spot. I agree. I think this is just, I love the sense of community here. And I like how women are just, I don't know, like thriving, and, looking at KT, who opened up this place. she's amazing. Like that was her dream, and she did it. And this place is really great. I come here every Friday. It's like my place to go listen to music, date night with the husband, come here at night after the dinner. So I do think Plattsburgh's got a lot of potential, and just the lake, the Adirondack Mountains, like it's gorgeous here. I feel like it's like a hidden jewel to me. Like I grew up here, but I value everything about it.
Sally,
Honestly.
how many people this is their first time here?
Yeah, is anybody here for the first time? Nice, great. Thank you for coming. I'm going to get emails. I'll just put something out so everybody can put their email. Courtney's creating an email list because she has a lot of free time. She has nothing to do. She'll just make a whole email thing for us.
Like I wanted to say, like what you said really resonated with me about. I just hung on to the words of like fabulous life. It makes me kind of emotional because I just feel like I'm grateful for this fabulous life that I lead. Like it's obviously hard, and then there's things obviously that are challenging, but like, and then to what you're saying about, I don't mean to be biased because I work for the city or anything, but I'm just like freaking Plattsburgh, yeah,
like,
it's
awesome.
I'm so great and rude.
And Beekman
Seriously though, like
Greater region, yeah.
it's so good. Like,
But I think of it as like a big community.
I do too.
I just think of Plattsburgh.
No,
It's everything. It's one big.
Yes.
So this one and this one, they're moving back to the area, but they were going to move to Burlington because Burlington was way hipper and way more happening, and Anna's younger brother lives over there. And Rob and I were like, okay, that's fine, cool, do whatever you need to do, but Plattsburgh's pretty cool. And it took a little bit of time and a little bit of, I don't know, but I think that you both are like, it is pretty cool. It's really a really nice place
it's cool
to live.
because you can actually like get in and be part of that.
Yeah, you can make something happen.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like, I just was thinking about it too, like I'm grateful that like Vinspire is back.
Yeah.
Seriously, like that's so good because that is community, and that was one of the things like when I got here and I met you, Allie, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, no, we're not moving to Burlington. There's like good women here. Well, I don't need to go make friends in Burlington. They're already here in Plattsburgh.
When Courtney got here, Sally was like, you need to meet my daughter-in-law. You don't have to be friends with her, but I just want you to meet her. And I'm like, awesome. And I met her, and I'm like, I'm friends with her, like automatically. But I also came back, and Allie brought me in the first month, I think in the first week that we moved back, I ran into her at Target. And we went to high school together.
We were very good friends.
We were very good friends. We
were
played.
Alley
Yep,
Squared.
we were Alley Squared. We played volleyball together. It was very cute.
Until sometimes it wasn't.
Until we fought, and then it was like, oh no, that's not good. But I ran into her at Target, and she's like, oh, you should come to this Vinspire thing with me. And I went, and I was like, I went home, and I said to my husband, I found these amazing women, and they're doing this awesome community engagement, and they're giving it to people for free, and they're bringing me people in to talk about cool things. And I was like starstruck to meet some really awesome people who were just like super inclusive and were like, hey, come be a part of this group with us. And that's so meaningful to me, right? Like everybody should be involved.
So you know, you saying that is the perfect cue because that's how we always end Vinspire. Allie says something super cool. Yeah, thank you. So we do want to talk a little bit about where does this go? Angela, what would you like to say? Thank you.
So I've been trying to find a way out of
I'm glad.
I'm very introverted, so it's a little hard to get started. And my dad passed away a month ago. So I am standing here without any parents. And I'm breathing, and that's enough. But right now I'm grateful for my voice. For about 5 years I've done a lot of voice work through a college in the UK. I had so many people around the world that has brought such a richness and diversity that had that small Plattsburgh feel but has extended it. And I used that for the last 2 years with my dad to stay grounded and centered present through all of it. And the first time when I lost my mom 11 years ago, it was more of a spiritual and upper dantian, qigong experience. And this time it was so rooted. And I'm just grateful that I was able to be there for both parents. But about 8 months ago, the voice work has me like bringing my photography and poems into songs and songwriting and singing. And I left my dad's house one day about 6 months ago, and I was crying, and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm not afraid of him dying. What are these tears? And when I just sat with them, I went in the silence of them, and this song poured out of me, and part of it was the tears I won't cry, the ones I don't make. And part of this healing work with the music is that was it. I'd sing this song, I would let it go, and I'm crying those tears now. Because then I was able to admit what I was actually afraid of, and it wasn't obvious or what people wanted from me or expected from me. And it took a courage to be that authentic voice. And it didn't matter at that point if someone heard it or not. It doesn't matter if I, really on some level, if I said it right now to all of you, I said it to myself. But then when we do what you're all doing here tonight, and we do it together, there's a different level of the power and empowerment and bringing that inward and what we're all going to leave here with tonight. So there is a deep level of gratitude and grief that when we're here, we can even share it on this level. It's really special.
Yeah.
Your voice.
And your photography, Angela, you and I are friends on Facebook, and Angela posted another picture.
And 3 hawks come out last week, a northern harrier and a red. That's the thing, it doesn't matter how you feel, the animals still show up. I'm grateful for that too. Thank you.
So I'm going to close this part with a poem. And then if you want to share what you're looking for in Vinspire, let's brainstorm. We do have a great speaker that we're hoping to get in. Yeah, go ahead. Did you want to?
No.
Okay. So this is called Lessons from Earth, and I think we all, in gratitude, we go back to nature. The mist over the mountains taught me that there is beauty in the unknown, and that you should keep walking, even when you don't know where you're headed. The birds flapping their wings on their first flight taught me to have courage, even if you're afraid of falling. The setting and rising of the sun taught me that it is okay to rest, as long as you get back up and try again. The wildflowers taught me to grow with perseverance and bloom with grace. This earth taught me kindness, forgiveness, and strength. I believe that creation has taught me all I need to know. So, what do you think? Where would you like this to go? What have you seen in the past that you'd like more of, or what do you see today that you think, ooh, I'd like, hey, does this sprout any ideas?
I think in February we should focus on Heart Month. Maybe you could get some speaker regarding that.
Like heart
health, heart. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a lot of that focus that month, but maybe
and heart chakra. We could do kind of a combo. That sounds good. Anything else? I have a pen. Yeah. Okay.
We've had a variety of topics, from controversial to enlightening to empowering. One of the most, I was looking through our YouTube videos, I put it all on YouTube, and one of the ones that I thought was most enlightening was diversity with the Plattsburgh State students. Because when I moved here in '75, we were a much more visibly diverse. We're all diverse in our own ways, but there is a lot of diversity here, but visible diversity has waned a lot since the base left and the pharmaceutical companies have left. And just to listen what these kids are facing and the way I don't want to bring politics in it, but the way we aren't getting along like we used to. So I personally want to see people who are trying to bring people together and rise above what's going on in the country. And because I think that's how it's going to start bringing our country back together, is little pockets of people trying to do it. So that's one. You know, you think about what's going on in Israel and Ukraine and Gaza. We need to do something little, because something little can bring on something more little. Like if you're as old as some of us, the Fabergé, you tell 2 people and they tell 2 people and it really spreads. So that's one thing that I'm very interested in bringing back.
You can do it by email.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
As you're processing, thinking of things, shoot ideas to us.
Yeah. We did have this really good one that we were all talking about recently, is when Danielle Gitlin, who is a psychiatrist, talked about sociopaths. I don't know why we all dug it so much in narcissists. We loved it. It was like, oh, this is good. It was really interesting. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Well, we got talking about if she would do something on liars.
Right.
And why we're drawn to liars. Quite a topic around relationships around that.
Another good one that was so cool is when we had a local CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture. I don't know if everybody knows about that. And a local chef, and they teamed up and they brought the vegetables in, and the chef actually showed us how to use everything, and it was, wow, that was fabulous.
And he made samples for us. That was phenomenal.
Delicious, yeah.
So
maybe in
it
the
runs the
winter.
gamut. It doesn't have to be something, traditional in Oprah talk or anything
Yeah,
like that.
so we'll be open to any suggestions, and we feel like we are very open to asking people to come and speak to the group. Yeah. So Courtney will be taking email addresses. Or you can write them down yourself, please, legibly. Yeah. And we're trying to put together a little bit of a better email system so we can get word out to everybody. But wow, what a great turnout. Thanks for coming.